It's one of the best ways to explore Missouri's outdoors. Join us as we take a hike next. Hi, I'm Kip Woods. Hiking in Missouri is one of the most popular and rewarding outdoor experiences. Whether it's a 1-hour hike or a 2-day backpacking adventure, you're sure to make lasting memories along the way. And on today's show, we're going to take you on several different hiking adventures throughout the state. One journey takes us on the Ozark Trail, deep in the heart of winter. Then, travel to Springfield and see how you can help maintain the trails in our state. We'll also discover the beauty of a trail system that takes you through parts of St. Louis. And in our cooking segment, Martha Daniels serves up a recipe featuring morel mushrooms. It's all coming up shortly. But first, Ralph Duran joins us for Call of the Wild.
Birds aren't the only animals that make sounds that you can learn. In fact, here's a pretty easy one. Can you guess what that is? It could be a bullfrog, a chorus frog, an American toad, or a tree frog. That's the call of an American toad. It's also easy to identify their eggs because they're different from those laid by frogs. Toad eggs look like a string of pearls suspended in the water.
Missouri is a different place in the dead of winter. The air is clearer, cleaner, and the scenery is more dramatic with the fresh coating of snow. What better time to explore one of the state's most majestic adventures, the Ozark Trail.
In the late 70s, mid to late 70s, a group of landowners in Missouri, including Department of Conservation, Forest Service, Pioneer Forest, Park Service, got together with a vision to create a long-distance trail in Missouri. That vision became the Ozark Trail.
John Roth is president of the Ozark Trail Association. Together with friends and fellow trail advocates Bill Fordyce and Scott Merrill, John's logged hundreds of miles on one of Missouri's premier recreational opportunities.
I bet Stagel is beautiful with the snow. If the vision from St. Louis down to Arkansas is completed, that trail system could be 700 up to 1,000 miles in distance, depending upon where it's finally routed.
And it's winter on the trail that holds a special challenge and a special appeal.
I like the winter best. The bugs aren't around, you can see forever, and there's a great sense of solitude because you have relatively few other people are out when it's really cold.
Really cold is the challenge Abe Simpson and Jill Gillespie have embraced. They're taking on the Current River section of the trail in the dead of winter, with low temperatures near zero and over 6 inches of new snow.
I don't remember it being so much water. Like I thought we could cross right here before.
It's Missouri hiking at its most challenging and its most rewarding.
Missouri just seems like a different place in the winter. Everything just seems bigger. It's more like a western landscape.
There's been more than once like hiking around back here where you look over the side of some precipice and it's like, yeah, a bad step would be a bad idea here.
Of course, with snow covering everything, you have to be careful. You really need to think through every step.
It's kind of fun to make your own trail.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Okay, Ozark Trail, to the left.
The trail wasn't hard to follow. There's sort of a depression in the snow that's real easy to see. And it's marked with these little signs. Getting lost really wasn't an issue.
I think there's a really cool spot right up over the hill there.
Staying warm, now that was an issue.
Oh yeah, check this out. Sandbar's covered with snow is kind of strange.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know that I've ever actually seen that before. I feel like I can see a lot more. You know, see through the trees, and you know, the snow gives really good relief against the trees and stuff, so you can see the shapes of hills under the trees. You can see, you know, just I feel like I have a better sense of like what the land is shaped like that I'm walking over, which is kind of fun. All right, that's gonna be good.
Thanks.
Between those two, one of them will be good.
When you're hiking, the cold weather is fine. But when you stop to camp, that's when the cold really sets in.
This looks like the perfect spot to camp.
Yeah.
Everything seems harder. Even simple stuff seems harder in the cold.
That waterfall was pretty cool.
The waterfall was cool.
I was impressed that that came from Missouri.
I think the most memorable thing for me was being able to see those hills under the trees. Last time I came through here, that like I wanted to know like what the shape of the hill was underneath the trees, and this is really the only way you can see it, and you can see the snow through the trees like that.
Okay, here we go.
Oh man. That's the only way to do it.
That was good.
I would do this again, definitely. I mean, I think it's fun to be out here when nobody's out here.
My feet are cold. Man, I really thought my sleeping bag was better than that.
I knew mine wasn't.
I definitely liked the hiking, moving around during the day, and sitting by the fire. But as far as using your hands to do things, it's pretty painful. You can only do it in increments. You have to put your hands back in the mittens.
Yeah, camping was very cold. I mean, sleeping in particular was tough. Sitting around the fire was nice. I mean, I enjoyed that, and that was great. But the sleeping took effort.
To be moving.
A lesson learned. Next time, there will be warmer sleeping bags and better footwear. But there will be a next time. Despite the challenges, winter is a spectacular season to experience the Ozark Trail.
Many Missourians are uncomfortable hunting for mushrooms because they can't tell which are safe to eat. That's one reason morels are so popular. It's hard to mistake a morel for any other mushroom. Of course, the main reason people love morels is the flavor. It's the perfect ingredient for a delicious side dish like my morel pepper focaccia. Start by mixing 1 cup of flour with yeast, sugar, and salt. Stir in water and oil. Add flour until the dough is thick enough to knead. Turn it on a floured surface and knead lightly, working in more flour. Return the dough to an oiled bowl, cover, and let it rise in a warm place for an hour or until it is doubled. Oil a pizza pan or prepare a pizza stone with cornmeal. Roll the dough into a large circle and place on the pan or stone. Brush the top with olive oil, then sprinkle on herbs and salt. Arrange peppers and morels on top of the dough and place in a cold oven. Turn the temperature to 450 degrees and bake for 15 minutes. Sprinkle on cheese and bake another 10 to 15 minutes until done. Serve the focaccia hot with a meal or split the loaf and use it as bread for some great sandwiches. If you'd like the recipe, check our website or just write to us. We'll have the address for you at the end of the show.
There are over 600 miles of trails on Missouri conservation areas.
Last night the wind blew and
groomed trails for a family stroll. Rough passages for the more adventurous. The opportunities for recreation on Missouri's trails abound. A new program offered by the Missouri Department of Conservation allows trail users the chance to get involved with the stewardship of these resources in a very personal way.
We hike in the same order every time we come down here. Susie, of course, is a natural leader, but that's just a habit. She heads out and Hal and I fall in line behind.
Meet the Hogue family, Cal, Sue, and son Hal. They've adopted the trails in the Little Sauk Woods Conservation Area near their home in rural Greene County.
Very little work to do today. That's good.
Well, looks like we've got a little bit of work up here.
We can handle that.
This is no problem.
By giving just a little bit of their time to the trails, they're getting a deeper sense of ownership for the land around them and spending valuable time together as a family in the process.
We found this place, we hiked it a while, saw its possibilities for some improvements, and thought, that's where we can do some work.
I like the exercise, I like being in the outdoors. I'm an outdoors person, and it's fun for me.
This area right here where we are is probably my favorite spot in the whole place. I like this stream, it's just really picturesque right in this area. Yeah, gotta reposition. So what kind of work have you guys been doing down here?
The usual run of things. We've been digging trail a little bit. Of course, most of the trails have been established here. We have some trash, like that can down there.
Oh yeah, I see that. I believe I can get around down there on those roots and grab that can without getting too wet.
That'd be nice. Watch out for poison ivy.
I will.
Nearly 185 miles of trails have been adopted on Missouri's conservation areas. The Hogue family's work was so significant, with over 200 hours devoted to the area's trails, they were given an award recognizing their service by the Missouri Department of Conservation.
This sounds a little bit hackneyed. It was a labor of love.
The Adopt a Trail program is a volunteer program where people can work with our area managers and adopt a trail. In about the first year now, we've had a really good response. We've got all kinds of different groups, hikers, people who just like to walk and look at nature. We have bike groups, horseback riding groups. We've really had a good response. We've got about 35 areas adopted right now.
You notice the trail looks a little bit different here. It used to be a mud hole, but now it has some fairly nice stones in place, taking advantage of the natural contours of the ledge. I think this is one of the prettiest places along the trail.
Well, Cal and Sue signed up last October, and right away reports started coming in, and I could tell they were really doing a tremendous amount of work just from what they were writing on their reports and the time that they were spending out here. And we just got real excited about that. It's good to have somebody interested in our areas and helping out with the trails, and we just felt they were going above and beyond the usual volunteer and really contributing quite a bit and doing this all on their own time, and we appreciated it very much.
We enjoy doing it, and we hope that other people appreciate the results. There we go. Just a little bit of trash in the trail. You got it, Susie?
When you can't find enough time or opportunity to hit the woods or take to the trail, you can still explore Missouri's outdoors. All you have to do is go surfing. If you love to hike, we've got the trail for you. You can find a nice hike close to home by searching trails by county, or find a special spot by selecting the class of trail you prefer, like a primitive or disabled accessible trail. Or choose the type of trail you want, something that offers an interpretive hike, or one that allows horses or bicycles in addition to hikers. You can even access information on the Adopt a Trail program. To make Surfing Missouri easy, our website is designed to work with any web browser. Use our web address or type Missouri Conservation into any search engine.
Mountain biking gets you outside. It, in a short period of time, lets you experience the woods. It's quiet, and that's one of the beautiful things about it. When you move through the woods, you can experience nature without really disrupting it. You see deer on a regular basis. You pass turkey. It's a great experience.
And that was great. Oh yeah, what a day. Let's check this other part of the trail out. Absolutely.
There's a new way to experience Missouri's outdoors, the mountain bike.
When you start out, of course, you're mostly interested in just getting those wheels to point straight. And as you progress through the difficulty of trails, you get to a point where it's just instant reaction. It's super exciting. Something comes up, you react to it. You're dropping through the woods, down a hill, here's a root, there's a rock, there's a limb, and your body just reacts instantaneously. It's a fantastic experience.
The intensity of a high-performance mountain bike on a narrow and rocky trail is not the only biking experience Missouri has to offer. The development of the Katy Trail and other bike paths has led to a resurgence of bicycling throughout the state. As Carl Thomas of the mid-Missouri town of Hartsburg exhibits, the benefits of cycling are not only reserved for the younger generation.
I took up bicycling when I was about 73, and I purchased me a bicycle, and I've been riding the trail for exercising, and I enjoy the evening breeze and the scenery, and then you meet a lot of people. I had rode the bicycle some when I was in service, and then I just picked it up again, and it took a little practice. I'm still not real sharp on, but I get around pretty good. Years ago, when a person got around 70, well, they thought that was terrible old, but since I've been that age, I still got a lot to go, I hope.
One of the great things about cycling is that you can do it at any level, and virtually anyone can do it. There seems to be a range of different riding possibilities, and Missouri is wonderful for the opportunities that it provides, whether it's just flat forest roads, Katy Trail, or some really challenging routes and rocks, and the wonderful twisted single track of southern Missouri. I mean, we really have it all.
This new interest in bicycling presents a challenge for land managers. Tim French is a forestry regional supervisor with the Missouri Department of Conservation.
The department is certainly aware of the interest in mountain biking on department areas, and we are certainly looking for ways to accommodate area users of all types. We are in the process now of developing trail standards for a number of different trail types, and our aim is, of course, to manage the resources of the state as best we can, and to provide for an enjoyable experience from a lot of different outdoor users. This could be equestrian users, bicyclists, hunters, hikers, walkers. When they all use the same trail, there's always a potential for conflict, and it requires everybody to have respect for each other and their use of the trail.
Packing out what you take in, not riding on wet trails, riding in small groups, there are a number of things cyclists can do to lessen their impact on the environment. As our trails become more popular, all trail users will need to be more mindful of their impact on other users and on the trails themselves.
Cyclists should always remember, of course, to yield the right-of-way to other trail users, but they also have a broader responsibility to the trail itself. You always have to be mindful that you don't want to tear up that trail. You got to leave it for the next person. And when you're using it, remember that other people are too.
A bicycle is more than just a means of transportation. It's a vehicle for discovery. Here in the heart of St. Louis, cyclists can explore both the city and the natural world by taking a spin on the Riverfront Trail. The trail, part of a larger network called the Confluence Greenway, gives bikers the opportunity to experience the Mississippi River in its urban and rural settings. One group responsible for getting the 12-mile Riverfront Trail rolling was TrailNet, a citizen-based organization.
TrailNet was founded to help the city of St. Louis develop the Riverfront Trail in the late 1980s, and since then has been working on this and a number of other trail projects throughout the bi-state metropolitan area. The trail starts in downtown St. Louis, basically at the Arch and Eads Bridge, and then continues north past the power plants. We felt that it was important to really start enhancing the river corridor and presenting other ways to interpret the river corridor for people.
There's a lot more that goes into a really well-functioning greenway than just the trail itself, and that's where the public art comes in. That's where all the interesting things come in. Interpretation is part of it, having events on it. It's more than just the trail itself. If you look at the ceramic mural, the artist was Catherine Nagel, and the ceramic mural starts from very primitive animals, talking about the habitat along the river, to the more sophisticated animals, to birds flying out at the end. Well, the whole process of developing it, she got the community involved, and for instance, on the birds on the end, she dealt with a couple organizations that dealt with children who had losses, like a lost sibling or a lost parent. They wrote a message to that person that they had lost, and wrote it on a little piece of paper, put it inside the clay when they created the bird, and that was fired inside the bird. So the paper burned up, the message is there forever in that bird flying away. So, you know, those type of things really gets the community involved, and it was an incredible idea.
The trail's southern section is a study of the region's history and industry, witnessed as bikers weave their way around the city's Mississippi River floodwall.
This isn't just a bike trail, it's really a way to help tell the stories of the river and how the river is important to this region. So the fact that you're riding along on a bike and at one point you get to experience, some of the industry that's going on, and then a few miles later you get to learn more about the history of the Underground Railroad here in our region is something really unique to this trail.
It was here, 1855 of May, where a group of 8 slaves got together to plan an escape from the Missouri side to the Illinois side, a free state.
It's Missouri's only nationally designated Underground Railroad site at this point, and it was really discovered by some local historians. And that story now is part of the Riverfront Trail and the bigger Confluence Greenway project.
Just when you think this trail is strictly urban, it surprises you. As cyclists head north, they can encounter wildlife and native wildflowers that have been planted along the path. And the trail's riders are as varied as its sights.
Sometimes you'll see some of the racers going up and down. There's a lot of families that come out because it's away from traffic, it's safe. You can ride with the family, with kids and stuff, and they're not worried about all the traffic in the cars.
Continuing north, the trail is enveloped by woods that seem to leave the city far behind. After you emerge, you come upon another treat, the historic Route 66 Chain of Rocks Bridge crossing the Mississippi River, now open to bike and pedestrian traffic only. So what's the best part of the trail? Each rider who makes the trek from start to finish has a different opinion.
My favorite part, I would have to say, is the 7-mile mark, right where you go right next to the river and up that hill. I love that part. It's beautiful.
Today my favorite part is mile 3, where I can get antiseptic swabs for when I fall and get help with my seat when it doesn't fit right, so I really appreciate the SAG support.
The bridge is a lot of fun going across the old Chain of Rocks Bridge, so I like that.
Perhaps it is in the mixture of urban and rural that makes this trail just what the doctor ordered for the body, heart, and spirit.
It's a way to really start getting in shape, start doing something, and exploring a different area, kind of getting out and having fun. So there's an immediate reward of having fun, and then the secondary rewards of increased health benefits.
The Riverfront Trail offers cyclists a different perspective of life within the city limits. And by journey's end, it serves as a reminder of the exciting and unexpected world at your doorstep.
Poison ivy grows just about anywhere, including wet or dry woods, fields, fence rows, and gravel bars. It comes in many shapes and sizes, but usually is a vine or low shrub. The leaves typically have a glossy surface and occur at the end of long leaf stems. All parts of poison ivy, including roots, are poisonous at all times of the year. Remembering this jingle may help you identify the plant.
Okay, leaves of 3, let it be. Leaves of 5, let it thrive.
Well, that's it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, if you get the chance, why not head out and enjoy Missouri's outdoors. That's where I'll be. See you next time.
To receive a copy of today's recipe, send us your name and address and the specific name of the recipe, or check it out on our website,